On August 23, 2018, Donald Trump sent a tweet that would change everything. In just 280 characters, he accused South Africa of
seizing land from white farmers
and referenced
large-scale killings.
Within hours, an entire country fired back. This wasn't just Twitter drama. This was the beginning of a 7-year international crisis that most people never heard about. By 2025, Trump would cut all aid to South Africa, offer asylum to white farmers, and stage what insiders call an Oval Office ambush that nearly shattered decades of diplomacy. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. The real story behind Trump's war on South Africa is far more complex and shocking than anyone realizes. To understand this story, you need to know 3 things. First, South Africa is America's second largest trading partner in Africa. We're talking billions in business. Second, the country has been trying to fix the legacy of apartheid by redistributing land that was stolen from black South Africans. And third, Donald Trump got his information from a very specific source. That source was Tucker Carlson, who just hours before Trump's tweet had aired a segment claiming white South African farmers were being systematically murdered. Trump tagged Carlson directly in his tweet.
Obviously, it was wrong 25 years ago. It is wrong now.
But here's where it gets interesting, and where the official story starts to fall apart. Let's talk numbers, because they tell a very different story. In 2024, South Africa recorded over 26,000 murders. Of those, only 44 were farming related. Only 8 victims were actual farmers. To put that in perspective, you're statistically more likely to be murdered in Detroit than on a South African farm. Yet Trump called it a genocide. South Africa's response was swift and brutal. The government called Trump's claims misinformed, alarmist, and, this is a direct quote, KKK rhetoric. President Cyril Ramaphosa didn't mince words. His spokesperson said this was a deliberate attempt to inflame old tensions. But Trump was just getting started. What most people don't realize is how much money was on the line. Trump threatened 30% tariffs on South African steel and aluminum. He cut funding for HIV treatment programs. He made it clear, play by his rules or pay the price. The breaking point came when South Africa filed a case at the International Court of Justice accusing Israel of genocide. Trump's administration privately warned South African officials to drop the case. They refused. So in February 2025, Trump signed an executive order cutting all U.S. aid to South Africa. But that wasn't the most shocking part. The order promised to resettle white South African farmers in America as refugees. Think about that. One of the wealthiest demographic groups in Africa, being offered asylum in the United States. Even white South African lobby groups were confused. AfriForum's CEO said, "We are indigenous to this country and we are going nowhere." But the most incredible part of this story happened in May 2025, when President Ramaphosa visited the White House hoping to reset relations. What happened next sounds like something out of a political thriller. According to multiple sources, Trump dimmed the lights in the Oval Office and played a video showing white crosses in fields and violent incidents, claiming it was proof of farmer genocide. Ramaphosa had brought 3 prominent white South Africans with him, golfers and businessmen who could speak to the real situation on the ground. When Trump finished his presentation, Ramaphosa stayed completely calm. His response was perfect. If there was an Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these 3 gentlemen would not be here.
I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these 3 gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me.
Even opposition media in South Africa praised Ramaphosa for keeping his composure under what they called deliberate provocation. So what's really happening in South Africa? The truth is more nuanced than either side admits. Yes, there's a land redistribution program. Before any reforms, 72% of farmland was owned by just 9% of the population. Mostly white farmers whose families had acquired land during apartheid. But the new law Trump opposed. It allows limited expropriation in the public interest, subject to court approval. No wholesale confiscation, no genocide. Yet the rhetoric had real consequences. Some Afrikaner communities held rallies with "Thank You Trump" signs. Others felt embarrassed by the international attention. Meanwhile, the ruling ANC used Trump's attacks to rally domestic support, saying South Africa wouldn't be bullied by foreign powers.
But the tradition of singing anti-apartheid songs didn't exactly fizzle out.
This story reveals something bigger about how international politics really works in the Trump era. It shows how a single tweet can escalate into a full diplomatic crisis, how domestic politics in one country can be weaponized by leaders in another.
Change the presidency forever. The global political landscape will never quite be the same.
Today, South Africa continues its land reform program. The U.S. ambassador position remains empty. Trade relations are strained but functional. As Ramaphosa frequently says, South Africa is a constitutional democracy that will chart its own path. The real question is, what happens next? Will future U.S. administrations repair these relationships? Or has Trump fundamentally changed how America deals with Africa? What do you think? Was Trump right to pressure South Africa, or did he cross a line? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see more untold stories like this, hit that subscribe button, because the truth is always more complicated than the headlines suggest.
America and Americans are saying that they are being embarrassed by their president. So, for Trump to try and embarrass an African president, I think what he should do is to come here so that we show him videos of white people in South Africa pinning a black man in a coffin and later putting him ablaze. Why is he not showing that video? We have seen the video, we know the video, and we know so many other videos of black people being dragged by white farmers' trucks on tarmac. Humiliation of black people.
There are no evidence to this thing, and you don't just hear from one person and conclude, because you have authority the power backing you up. So I just feel